All right, cousin Tone. Our next guest holds a special place in my hobby heart. I don't want to let the cat out the bag just yet, but I will say without him, I would have never completed one of my hobby goals for 2022. This interview has been in the works for months and it's finally come to fruition. I am excited to say that we have with us today on the program Mr. Aaron Nowak, founder and CEO of Slabstox. Welcome, Aaron, to the Cousins Collectibles podcast.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for having me. And yes, we finally got it done. I know we went back and forth a few times, but I'm happy when I'm here and excited to talk cards as always. I love joining different shows and
Yeah,
just
man, this is
getting cards
exciting. You definitely got it going on. So let's jump right into it. For those of you, and for our audience who don't know what you do and what exactly Slabstox is, let's start out with like a three-part question. So what I want to do is basically, who are you? Who is Aaron? Give us a little bit of background. What makes you tick? Secondly, how did you come up with Slabstox? And third, what exactly is Slabstox? So if you can get all that, I would love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do my best.
All right.
So my name is Aaron. Yes, as you mentioned, I'm a founder and CEO of Slabstox. I started the company just about 5 years ago now. I've been a sports card collector like my entire life, though, like 8 years old, ripping packs and buying cards at garage sales, probably when I was even younger than that. And just kind of used the collecting passion throughout my life and then built in different skills through high school and business school to start, kind of a business around my passion. That's what it came down to. And, a lot of hard work, not easy, but yeah, I've been able to build something pretty sweet that a lot of people come and discuss different things on our channels. Big community we're trying to build in the sports card world. For more about myself, first, I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Huge Bucks, Packers, Badgers, Brewers fan, and a big Chelsea fan as well for all the soccer fans out there.
Nice.
I graduated from UW-Madison in 2020, but I started the business when I was a sophomore in college, and ever since then, just been working every single day at building the dream to make sports cards more accessible to everyone. That's our mission statement. That's why I started with, and just want to find a way to get more people talking about them, get more people collecting them. Because for me, it's a huge passion of mine. My whole life, going through middle school and high school, not a whole lot of people honestly were collecting cards. I'm 24 now, and there was barely anyone when I was in high school. Really, no one honestly that I knew that collected, and it was pretty to myself thing. Didn't really. Other than reading message boards online, some different social media things, but that's all just to connect with other people that like it. Going to shows was awesome, and I dragged my dad to shows. I'd have him drive me around. He never collected, but I'd have him drive me around to shows, and it's just been a blast growing up doing it and been building the business and hiring my parents and everything, and doing it with one of my best friends from when I was growing up, Nate. Slabstox Nate grew up across the street from me. And what Slabstox is now, to get to that, we're a sports card market reporting business. So we run multiple social channels through Instagram, through YouTube, and one of our biggest is newsletters. We send out a daily newsletter for the last 4.5 years, 365 days a year, that covers the sports card market, what's moving, connecting it to sports, what's happening on the court, on the field, is translating into the market either up or down, and really just trying to educate along the way too. And it's just been consistent. It's been a lot of work, obviously, between all the different Instagram posts and videos and all that stuff. And our team's small, it's really 3 to 4 of us here in a little family business and plus an intern. And that's pretty much what it's been for all this time. It has not been a big operation, but it is a lot of production that goes out there. So it's been a great time, and I just love doing it. And I hope to do it for a long time. It's really what it comes down to.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I kind of like when I was watching it, it's almost like a sports center, but with cards. You guys are discussing the sports, you're discussing the specific athletes, and then you're throwing, hey, I got this card here, and you're giving the stats and the values of that specific card, which I thought was pretty cool. And at the same time, it was through PWCC, and you're actually going ahead and you're bidding on auctions and things like that, right?
Yeah, so that's another thing we do. We got Slabstox Sundays. We've done that for a year now. We're in our second year of doing that. And that's a blast. Every Sunday night, 9:45 p.m. Eastern time, Nate and I go live. And, we're live on YouTube. And then simultaneously, we're screen sharing our, PWCC weekly auction. We're buying a bunch of different things, selling different things, and selling some raw cards now, selling like 50 raw cards, getting like $1,000, putting into like a bigger card. So it's a fun way for, our audience to come and connect with us. A lot of people are either just chilling, watching football on Sunday nights. And honestly, it's our most attended live show. People love it. They love seeing the action. Nate and I are always going back and forth. And it's just a fun time. It's a great time.
So basically, you and Nate just grew up together, and now you're full-time cards. I mean, that's kind of you're living the dream, bro.
Yeah, no, it's been a great ride. Yeah, I literally he's 3 4 years older than me. He grew up across the street from each other playing baseball together. Like wiffle ball and stuff. And then basically, he was a big baseball guy. He had a lot of knowledge on the prospects, on the stats, and I knew all these cards. And he gave me basically some players, going by. And I said, okay, listen to you. And then I bought some dudes, did pretty well in Forrest Whitley. He told me about Ronald Acuna, but I was like in sophomore in college then, and 120 for a base auto seemed ridiculous at the time. Obviously, they went up to like $1, $2, $3,000.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had some good picks, and it worked out. And then we just kind of started the content because of that, started to share the knowledge, or at least the knowledge we accumulated. Right, it's not the be all end all of knowledge, but we're just trying to share what our experiences with others. People like yourselves are sharing your experiences. A lot of other people now are too. And then all that just compiles into making people better collectors and better hobbyists, I think, along the way. So
Now,
kudos to you guys too for running a show and everything. I think it all helps.
yeah. So why you're in college, like you said, and you're going through your major and stuff. When did it like just click in your head? Bang! I want to start my own company, and I want to do it with cards, and I want to do it with my boy. Like how did that all like just come
Yeah,
about?
so the sophomore in college, I was sitting there. I just got done playing a year of basketball at St. Thomas, and I was actually on my way back to Madison. So oddly for me, I went to Madison, Wisconsin freshman year, transfer St. Thomas. In Minnesota sophomore year, played a year of basketball. Didn't really want to do that anymore. Transferred back to Madison to go back to business school because it was just better for me, and the experience was better at Madison outside of basketball. And I basically was like, I want to try to use data. I was always very into statistics and data. If people can't tell that, obviously starting this company. And I wanted to try to use data to show people that, you can buy this card for $5 and sell it for $15. Like, there was not many places that was actually showing, or really nowhere, actually, I say not many. There was nowhere that was showing a line graph like a stock that showed a month ago it was this and now it's this. And I just literally went to Excel, plugged in some numbers and started to do that. And that's how I wanted to start it. The original goal was to build an application that is tracking these card values, possibly buy and sell functions. I had that back in 2017. I was trying to start that, and I was at the right time, but I was a sophomore in college. I had no money. I had no tech background. I'm a business student. I'm not a tech guy. And I just basically was like, let me start a social media channel and start talking about it, because eventually, I can launch whatever. Maybe I make some money, maybe I gain audience. If you don't have audience and no one to talk to, like, no one's gonna want to use your product if you don't even want to talk
Yeah,
to. So
yeah,
I was like, eventually I'll figure out the rest of this stuff. So really, I found out along the way, it's just the content and the numbers that I find exciting, not actually building the product.
yeah, yeah.
We did try, and we did launch something. It wasn't perfect by any means. It's far from perfect. It didn't work anyways. We had to cancel after, I think it was 3 to 4 months of actually running Slabstox Pro is what we called it. Free data service that was charting some cards, but we had to go about a really difficult way, not having that tech background. And eventually we just landed on like, hey, at this point we've gained a pretty large audience. People just love reading what we have to say about either it's cards moving up or down in value, the sports that are happening. Let's just go all in on content. Start doing this newsletter even bigger and better, writing more inside the newsletter, doing more content on YouTube, doing more content on Instagram. And that's really what we're doing today. And then we're able to partner with great places like Card Ladder, because all I wanted was a platform to make content on, because I was making
Yeah.
the content via hand in Excel. I'm like, well, if I can just build it myself, then I can just screenshot the platform that's automatically doing the data. Well, Card Ladder built it. They're amazing people. I've known them for a while. And then we sparked up the partnership starting last year, over a year ago now, because of that. Like, they had the product, we could share it out further, and it helped us produce better content anyways, because it's a great platform. So it's just all came together really well now. And now we're obviously in 2023 and hope to keep going forward.
Last question before I move it on to Tony. One, I seen pictures of you. You look pretty tall, and you said you're a baller. So how tall are you, and what position did you play?
All right, good question. Without shoes, 6'4", with shoes, 6'5". In high school, I was more of a post player because our team lacked serious size. I was the tallest player, but I mean, yes, I had some good post moves because I had some decent, just I guess, fundamentals. But I was always more of a shooter come college, and because I got undersized very quickly when I went to St. Thomas, like immediately, and not only undersized but under athleticism also. Like, I could dunk and stuff, but like my lateral quickness was not that great. So I really just reserved to shooting. And at that point, kind of just became a spot shooter, honestly, come college. But that's about it then.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, brother. Nothing
No,
wrong
no,
with
no.
that.
For
I love
sure.
Klay Thompson's shot. I watched his shot and I try to shoot like him, and that's what I did
Yeah,
over and over and over again. That guy's
there
the
you go.
best spot shooter I've ever watched.
Yeah, I'm saying if you're gonna model your shot after somebody, Clay Thompson is not a bad person to do.
No,
For sure. Hey, Aaron. Before I get to the next question, I have a confession to make because I'm on record saying that I find value based content boring. But looking at you guys, I was like leading up. I was like, I got to do some research because I don't really, gravitate towards that kind of content. I'm like, okay, you guys held my attention because it's a different take. Like I said, it's like a little sports center-ish type deal. Like like you have the stuff that you flash up the stats, but you and your partner, like you look like you're having fun, you're laughing. It's not just here's a card. It was, $5 today and it's $7 tomorrow. And so I definitely got to give you guys props on the way you kind of just your show and how you go about it. It's a little different than the norm that I've seen as far as value-based content. So, kudos to you guys on that.
thank you. I appreciate
Yeah, for sure, man. I was like, okay, I might
it.
be able to learn a little something here. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
again,
and
it was
just to make it clear, like
yeah.
I would have to say, going through it for multiple years now, like we know that like some of that stuff can get dry over time or boring over time. So now, especially in 2023, like we are definitely looking at ways to like keep on making sure it's fun, entertaining, engaging. Because I can tell you guys like to goof around and like I'm like same with
Mhm.
us, we want to make sure that always comes through that we're kind of having a conversation with the audience. We're not just sitting there and talking to them. Otherwise, people get bored.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's
yeah,
boring
yeah.
for us too if we do that too. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm sure it was fun when, a year or two ago where everything is up, 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 and that's good. That's easy to do. Not easy, but it's guys are gonna be excited because the card they bought yesterday, it's already 5x in the 5 minutes that you guys are talking. But
that literally is I've never heard something true in my life.
but nah, yeah. I mean, you guys, like I said, I watched about two or three of your latest videos, and I'm like, okay, I can dig this. And like I said, the presentation's nice, and it looks like you guys are, like you're having fun. But so spinning off of that, you're dealing with all kinds of various cards and their values basically on a daily basis. So, you pretty much have your finger on the pulse of the hobby. So what have been the trends? I mean, some of them, might be a little obvious, but you kind of dig in a little bit more. What have been the trends in the last quarter of 2022? And what do you expect in the first quarter of 2023?
Great question. I'm very well prepared to answer this because we literally just published today our 2022 year in review market report on 137pm.com. We write a monthly market report, but this one that launched like today was for all of 2022. I'll tell you what, it took so many hours to write and research, but it was worth it because now I can do something like this. And this is what I've seen. Like clearly, a lot, just about all cards, unless you got some unique scenarios, are down since the start of 2022. Even if it's rare, if it's high population, if the player's doing really well, like Luca, or not. However, if you like go to the start of sports seasons, let's say the start of the NBA season, and you start looking at the data from the start of the NBA season, or maybe a month before the NBA season up until now, you can definitely find cards that made people money. Like Nikola Jokic's 2015 Select Silver PSA 10 we just wrote on, it increased like 60% from the start of October until the end of December. And now even into January, there's another sale that went up another $200, I think. So like if you were able to buy before the seasons were starting, make a correct call, boom, they're playing well. Obviously, this is the NBA. There's so many different players in the NBA or excuse me, MVP conversation, which first of all helps a lot, I think. There has been some money to be made. You buy them back in the spring, right before the playoffs started last year, not so much. Going into 2023, I think it'll be really interesting because, back in like 2019, 2018, before COVID boom happened, a ton of people started collecting cards. Everyone's reporting the buying and selling. It really took quite a bit for a card to increase in value. Like Nate wrote the other day, I think it was on Juan Soto's 2016 Bowman Chrome Auto. Like when he went crazy going from single A to the MLB within like a 4-month stretch or 3-month stretch or something like that. We're talking like 50% gains, like to do that. But he was like, if that happened like a year ago, that would have been like 500% gains, right? So like it used to take a ton for cards to increase in price. I still think it takes like a little bit less now than it did 3 years ago, just because there are so many more people paying attention to the market. Like regardless of what the dollars and cents are doing from 9 months ago until now, there's still so many people engaged in the market, way more than there was 4 years ago. So
Mhm.
even if like some of the specific individual cards are even returning back to 2019 values or 2020 values, there's so many more people collecting. There's so many more people who know what cards are. So many more people who are getting enjoyment out of the hobby, which to me is the best possible thing, right? We want people to enjoy the hobby. And that's what I see coming in 2023. Like, who knows? I can't predict exactly, and no one can, what said card will be 3 months from now, 4 months from now. I can probably say if a player now is playing better in 4 months, as long as it's not just a card that no one wants, could be more valuable. And that's how it used to be, right? Like, you physically had to do something as a player to get people to want to collect your cards more, to build their legacy, to maybe sell in the future a year or two down the line. So many people got conditioned to being buy the card today, like you said, sell it in a week from now for 50% gains, 500% gains, whatever it is. And that's just not reality. It hasn't been for the last 20 years, and it won't be for the next 15 years probably. Maybe there's a time in the next 15 years that we see something like we did in the last 3 years, but I'm not banking on that. Obviously, I'm happy with where the market's at now. As long as people are enjoying cards, as long as people are collecting cards, I do foresee, and we already have seen some wax prices start to come down. Not to the point where they're at in like 2019, but I think in the next year we'll start to see some products become maybe more accessible, price wise and maybe availability wise too, just for people to rip packs and enjoy them. I think that's a super important part. Like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for walking to Target and getting my hands on 2010 Topps update or 2011 Topps update, 2011 Series 2, whatever it might have been. 2012 Prism basketball. Back then, there weren't nearly the amount of collectors as now, but still, it's important. People need to get their hands on product to enjoy it. Same with kids too. So I think that 2023 will be a good year.
Okay, fair enough. Before I kick it to Oz, I noticed in the background you have a box there of Toy Story.
Yeah.
Do you collect that?
So that's the only 1995 Toy Story thing I have, actually. That's 95 Skybox hobby box of Toy Story. It's the first ever Toy Story set. I don't have any singles because they're literally all like base cards. Like, that is like the junk wax there, right? Like all the different 95 hoops, whatever, Jordans and stuff. But I love that box. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. And now I have a ton of Pixar cards that they just released this year. It's a Weishvatz set. It's a Japanese TCG set. First licensed Pixar set ever. It's got every single movie from Toy Story up to Luca in 2021. Phenomenal set. I absolutely love it. So yes, I do collect stuff like that. Not singles of that specific product, but I got the sealed box because it's dope.
I know. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I only asked because my son, he's 24, and Toy Story, that was it, bro. Like, we went to Disney World, and when he saw Buzz and Woody, I saw in his eye. And by the time we went there, he was like 17 or 18. Like, he was already grown.
Dude,
and it was
I
like
wanted
seeing, like, I don't know. I was like, what the heck just happened here? He was like totally became a little kid again. It was wild. So
my family, I still go to Disney World, man. I've been to Disney World more times than I can probably count on my hands. Like, my family loves Pixar, Disney, all that stuff.
Nice. That flows perfectly into the next question. And
see that? I'm a pro.
That's called a segue, sir.
I love that.
So, Aaron, Tony and I, we always talk about what truly makes this hobby special is the people and the relationships formed because of the cards. Now, back in September of 2022, I was on a mission to complete the 2022 Zero Cool Stranger Things National promo set. I only needed one more card, and the story goes, obviously, we went to the National, and I fell in love once we seen the little vending machine there, and I was in line every day with Courtney from Reckless Cards waiting.
Trying to get Courtney. Okay.
Yeah. Me and Courtney were there, road dogs, early in the morning and in the afternoon getting those packs. And the last day I was actually, my daughter had come with my wife and she picked the pack. I said, come on, come along with me, come up to the vending machine. And she picked it. And the pack that she picked was the redemption card and an 11 in one of them. So it was dope. And then from there, I got back, showed it to Tony. Tony had already left, and he was like, bro, you got to get a set now. I was like, I don't know. He's like, nah, you got to get the whole set, bro. So little by little, I went on eBay, started buying them up. I couldn't find the Joyce to save my life. Joyce Byers, played by my girl, Winona Ryder. So I wasn't having any luck on eBay. So I decided to reach out to Courtney. And she immediately said, hey, I know somebody that has like 3 graded ones. And I think he's willing to, part with one of them. I'm not sure. I'll reach out to him and we'll see what we can get cooking. And so first of all, shout out to Courtney, because like I gets back to the people and the relationships, because without Courtney, I would have never had the contact with you and even known that you even collected Stranger Things. So here you are with graded ones already. I'm just trying to collect, raw card set, and this guy already has like 3 sets. Unbeknownst to me, I was like, wow, this is awesome. So I reached out to you, and let me just first say, bro, you have a Stranger Things collection that puts me to shame. I thought I was a Stranger Things freak. This dude is on another level, and we're gonna get into it exactly. What his PC looks like, but tell me about the Stranger Things. First of all, how you fell in love with it, and what your PC is, and what it looks like, and what you plan to accomplish with it.
You gotta see this. 1 second.
Oh,
You see
boy.
that?
Yeah, run.
Yeah, that's a light
That's a
bright.
light bright.
I got a light bright for Christmas, and I put it together the first day I got it.
That
Yeah,
is
it says
dope.
run on it.
I got one in a box for my daughter. Like dude, I've been buying up all kinds of stuff, and I just have them in boxes. So it's my daughter's 11 years old. Go figure. And I'm just buying up Funkos, buying up cards, all kinds of memorabilia, and her room just looks like a Stranger Thing. Like it looks like the Will Byers house is what it looks like right
Yeah. Does she get scared from the show?
now. At first she was, but we've been watching it since the beginning, so she's accustomed to seeing what's going on. Now the Stranger, the season 4 was a little bit more gory and graphic. So like I remember talking to you about it because you asked me that same question. I said the first time when Chrissy gets lifted up into the air and Vecna starts snapping bones and blood starts coming out of her eyes, we're all like sitting there like, what the hell is going on?
Dude, the first time I saw it, my parents and I started looking at each other just like that, like, bro, what is this?
It was totally different, because you're used to seeing, a little jump scare here and there, a Demogorgon popping out or a Demodog, and you get the thrill and excitement builds up. But this thing hardcore was like, season 4 was just like, watch this, bang, 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 and you're like, holy crap! And it just took it to a whole nother level. And my daughter loves that stuff, so she's good to go.
No, okay. Thanks for answering that. First of all, my first interaction with Stranger Things cards was a long time ago. Like I was opening some of these packs back in 2019, I think, maybe super early 2020. The first set released in 2018, so I wasn't like ripping it like the day it came out. At that point, I would just started Slabstox. I'm sure I was just super focusing on the sports card stuff going, but then come early 2020, I just noticed some of the boxes and bought some of the boxes, started ripping them. I was like, whoa, these things are awesome, right? At that point, if I was smart enough, I was super big into building my soccer collection at that moment, like super, super into. And if anyone like knows me well at this point, it's like little times can I build multiple collections at a time. I will just go, I'm so focused, I go so crazy on one thing at one time, which is why we were like, bro, he's already got 3 sets. It's like, yes, I might not. Okay. So like that's the type of stuff that happens, right? So like, I was so focused on soccer, I wasn't really then chasing the singles of it. I just want to open some of the packs, and I had a great time. But then come basically when season 4 was releasing, obviously I was super hyped that season 4 was coming out. I watched the show a long time ago, and I started to look back into the cards. So I was going to start buying some singles. I did try to buy a couple, and I actually gave them away on a Whatnot stream. But what I did was I bought a sealed case. I only saw one sealed case out there, okay, for season 1 hobby boxes.
Oh, wow.
It was like $1,700, which at the time I'm like, oh my god, $1,700 on non-sports cards, right? I'm like, is this stupid? This was in February earlier in 2022. And it was first of all a great idea from like a value perspective. I broke it all though on the day that season 4 debuted. So like I sold the entire case as a break, and I kid you not, I just want to have a fun time. So I'm like, I'll just start these all at $1, right? On Whatnot, we did a break on Whatnot. I lost 50% of the case value, so lost a lot of money. However, I will say this: opening the product, it was a blast. There's like 50 people in there. They were like, I've never seen this before, having a great time. Some of the people didn't even know who the characters were. They just like $20 for a character, sure, for a full case. So I had an amazing time. And then that kind of was like, okay, I should start to look back in these cards a little bit more once I ripped the whole case on the opening night. And I started buying a couple of autos. I got them raw card review at the National. And then when they came up with the National promo stuff, which they announced like a day before the National started, I think, we were driving to Atlantic City, me and the team. And I get I see the post on my phone, and I started freaking out, right? Like I did not know that this thing was necessarily coming, especially at the National. I might have heard about the set or something like that, but I saw the promos and I was like, I need to get these. And I stood in line with my dad for the first hour or so on the very first day, and he pulled Max and 11 out of the same pack, so he did a great time. Nice. I think I got Robin and Lucas. But then after that, I just started grab autos, buy more promos, have 2 complete sets, have one really low graded set, like the worst condition ones that I got. They're sitting on the shelf over here. I'm going to try to frame them on the wall because I don't really care about the grade. And then I have one super high grade set. Trying to get the highest grade in the entire SGC pop report. It got pretty expensive, so I have the full set, but like getting 10s is very difficult on these cards. A lot of them are pretty damaged because they fall the vending machines. It's just, tough stock in general. But I mean, my favorite things are definitely the autos. I actually brought 2 out here. This is the biggest one.
Nice.
I've got, this is the one of one Hopper from season 1 auto, PSA 10. It says 9 auto. The auto looks really good. I've seen worse autos get 10s from PSA.
That's a 101 gold.
That is. So there's only 13 one of one gold autos from season 1. And that I'd say is probably maybe the 4th best one behind 11, Dustin and Steve. Maybe the 3rd, depending on which characters you like. And then this is the best 11 auto, which that I have. I don't have the one of one, but I have the blue. I have 10, 9, 10 on the SGC grade. So I love the autos. Try to get every season 1 auto of all the characters. They have like one short right now. Might be Mrs. Wheeler. Have a ton of Max autos though from season 2. That's like her first card. And Max is my favorite character. Like I just think she's just like so dope in the show. Like I don't know, her attitude's awesome. So
it's from like the first time you seen her, the skateboard and her and Billy, and it just her character to where now we have no idea what's gonna happen to her.
Yeah.
We don't want to do any spoilers if you haven't seen it, but if you haven't seen it, do me a favor, stop being a punk and watch it. I know.
Tony, have you seen it?
Oh yeah, bro. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm locked in. I mean, I'm not as a freak as this guy over there. This thing is backwards. But no, yeah, I've watched the show, my wife and I, where we've been locked in since from the jump. Like it takes, I mean, for Oz and I, Oz is a little older than me, so most of that stuff I was a little too young for it. But once they got to start showing like Nintendo and stuff like that, it's like, yeah, man, I was locked in. I'm like, man, this is awesome. And I mean, the show is great. And I usually don't watch, and it's not horrors like stuff, but I usually don't watch things like that. But I think it's a perfect balance between nostalgia, a good storyline, and a little, bump in the night stuff. It's just it's a great show.
Definitely. As for the collection and the plan with it, like I won't say I'm going to hold every card forever. I've got duplicates of a lot of them, some of them. I did an episode with Adam from PWCC. He interviewed me pretty early on when I was collecting and stuff, and let me kind of talk through my strategy or the cards I was looking at and why. I made it very clear, like, hey, I'm not holding every single card for forever, right? I'm going to hold a complete set of season 4. I'll probably hold an auto of each of the characters, stuff like that. But really, like, the season 4 Zero Cool set, it hasn't released yet. I mean, it's still the promos. We're all still waiting on the set to release. I imagine it'll come in the next, maybe 3 to 6 months, somewhere in that range. Hopefully, I guess, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And my thought was, okay, when that set releases, that'll be the first big Stranger Things release since the market blew up. A lot of people started watching Stranger Things. Like, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who see the set and start to look at the older cards, like the 2018 season 1 stuff, and maybe try chasing some of it. So I said, let me grab a couple duplicates of them and sell them along the way to help build the collection too, is the other thing. And then also season 5, just the TV show in general. It's the last season. I think when that comes out, it's going to be nuts. I hope it's amazing. I think it'll be amazing. Yeah. And then that'll also bring a lot of other people, to realize, these cards. And really all I have to do is just look at Game of Thrones cards. Some of those early autographs sell for an insane amount of money. To have the early autographs of 11, Hopper, Steve, Dustin, all those people is, I think it's a smart idea, at least for me. And then I'll say this too. I'd never tell someone to buy these cards ever if you don't care about the show, love the show, or watch the show multiple times. Like, do not buy the cards. You really need to like it, okay?
Yeah.
Like, I want to make that very clear.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ron, all those extras that you got, those duplicates, I'm gonna come after you. So just keep a couple of those autos to the side for Cousin Oz, because I'm definitely, I've been looking on eBay.
Cousin Oz stash over here.
Yeah, because I'm gonna get them all, bro. I'm gonna get them all. So,
Aaron, that's perfect that you said that, because that's the difference between Oz and I with the show. Like, I mean, I like the show. He loves the show. So I haven't even entertained buying a single card, because I know I don't love it as I trust me. I mean, I enjoy it. We watch it. It's great, but that is definitely a different level, because I know if I buy a card within a week or two, I'm like, what the heck? Why did I buy this for? That's a good piece of advice. I want to ask you guys. So Oz, the ones you're talking about, those are the ones that we bought through Netflix, correct?
No, there's another set that just came out recently through Netflix. So those are like art cards, right? Aaron?
So it's part art cards, part I actually think that they will make some of the designs like the S4 cards. We'll see. I'm not exactly 100% sure. It sounds like they made some kind of like exclusive parallels for them, some like
Hmm.
red and purple and different things like that. Obviously they haven't shipped yet. I'm sure you haven't gotten yours yet or
No.
shipping notification or anything like that. It's the Billy Butcher set, which is like artist inserts inside of it. We'll see what it exactly is. I don't think there's gonna be like any autographs in it or anything like that. The season 4 main set releasing on Zero Cool cards will be like the big set for season 4.
Last question about that. The biggest question: will Millie Bobby Brown have an on-card auto in that set?
I don't know for fact, but if she doesn't, I'll be disappointed. I'll just say that. That's the only card, like I have the season 1 here. It is the only season 1 and actually only autograph in the season 1 or 2 release that is sticker is Millie's. Which made me, hesitant at first, but I think everyone always wants the first thing. Everyone always wants the first thing, but I do think that season 4, if they are on card, will be very expensive, maybe as expensive as a season 1, because they're on card. People love on card autos. So
Yeah,
we'll see. I hope that is.
that would be dope.
And hey, did you redeem the redemption?
Yeah.
Okay, so did I. I don't know about your thoughts on this stuff, but like there's not that many redemptions out there. My hope is that they make like a special set for the redemptions from the national. And my dream, and I know nothing. Okay, so don't take this as anything. I know nothing. My dream is that the redemptions from the national are the complete autograph set in a box, like they did with the PSG
Bro.
soccer set. If they did that, I think I'd explode, bro.
Dude, I just got goosebumps, man. Don't put those ideas in my head because now I'm gonna be thinking.
No. Seriously, I know nothing. All I'm saying is that'd be sick if that's what it was.
That would be. My daughter would go. I mean, like I said, it's our thing. This is what we do, and oh my gosh, she would flip out if that was the case. Whew,
Yeah,
man.
no, that'd be crazy. And then I'm sure it'd be like a $5,000-$10,000 box, anyways, if that was the case.
Yeah. Jeez. Because what? There was 11, right?
So the rumor was 11. I think I've seen
More.
maybe it depends on if people have flipped the cards or not. If people have gotten their redemptions in and then sold them on eBay because they were first around 500, then they went up to like 1,000. I've seen like maybe 20 listers sold. So there could be ones that are flipped a couple times over. I don't know for sure. I think 25 might be the most though. So there's not that many. So they could do a special thing because there's really not that many.
Oh boy.
I'm excited now.
That's crazy. And I was looking at that card that Aaron flashed up on the screen. I think that's the one that you lost when you put that fat bid and lost it by
Yeah.
Let's
not get into that.
No, I don't know if it was the blue one. I think it was red.
No, it wasn't the blue one. Actually, it was the season 2, where she got like the kind of little afro. It was the red out of 25 on, not on card, the sticker auto.
Yeah. Dang. Do you have a Millie auto yet?
I have this one. Tony, keep me busy while I.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, he's got one that we've talked about before, but yeah, he had bid on one and he put a really fat bid in at the last second, and man, that thing
hard, but it's a 9.8.
Wow.
CGC. Yeah, it's a Stranger Things comic book here. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a dope auto, man. I love it, and I love the Demogorgon in the back.
That's a great auto.
That's so I figured, and the funny thing is, I'm sitting next to Courtney at the National. We're drinking at a bar, and I'm just flipping through eBay, and I was like, "Yo, Court, what do you think about this?" And she's like, "Huh, I don't know. I don't think you should get that." And I was like, "I don't know." And then I show her husband, and he's like, I don't know. CGC, I'm not too familiar with. We really didn't even know anything about CGC.
Big comic book rares, huge comic book rares.
Right. And we had no idea. And I was just like, you know what? So I'm there drinking. I was like, what the hell? Drunk bidding. And I just purchased it. And I absolutely love it. It's dope as hell, man.
Well, I love comic books, so that's really cool. I've got a couple comic books graded actually at my house, like in a display case. I'm a big fan of like just a lot of different collectible stuff anyways.
I can see that. Love it. Love it.
That's awesome. So let's talk about one of your other passions. A few weeks ago, we witnessed one of, if not the best soccer match of all time, played between Argentina, led by Lionel Messi, and France, led by Kylian Mbappe. So you're a pretty big collector of soccer cards. So just give us your thoughts on the two superstars, even the game if you want, and just the soccer market in general going forward.
First of all, the best match I've ever watched live. That includes 3 years of watching matches. So it's not like obviously 20. but it no doubt the best match I ever watched live. You know, I've heard from many the best match ever from other people who are fans of teams that had amazing matches. No, I like that one better. But either way, obviously one of the best. It was just insane. I'm so happy Messi won. I'm a big Messi fan. My uncle, back when I was 10, 2010 World Cup, he gifted me, I think it was for Christmas or just because it was a Messi 2010 World Cup jersey.
Nice.
I've had it ever since, and luckily he bought me like an extra large. Like, I mean, I was like big at 10 because I'm like big now, but not big enough to fit an extra large. Right, this thing was like a dress on me. Okay, so like, but it still fits to this day. So I wore it all World Cup, every single match that Messi played in.
Sweet.
And we just named my parents got a new puppy. I named him Leo. I said we're naming him Leo, and so I got a puppy named Leo. So I'm very happy that Messi won. I like Mbappe a lot too. Though. Like, I wasn't like, oh, Mbappe, you stink. Like, he's a beast. He's amazing. He's gonna be one of the best ever. I think he already is gonna be the best World Cup performer ever, probably, unless he gets hurt for multiple World Cups, which would be devastating. And I don't really have much more to say other than I love that World Cup. The journey was amazing. You know, Messi was great. As for the market, so I started collecting over 3 years ago now, soccer cards, which like three and a half years like doesn't sound like a whole lot of like time, but in the collecting world, I'd say that's like pretty long time. You know, if you think about that, like that was before COVID hit and everything like that. And I just, I always like learning new things. Like I always like learning new cards, learning new sports, learning new whatever. So I want to learn the new market. And I started to buy some Mbappe cards, started to buy some like some Sancho, some Rashford, some Messi, some Felix, just some different players that, were big prospects at the time. And luckily it worked out for a lot of those guys, and did well on the cards, buying and selling them. And then started up some content on the soccer cards after I sold a bunch of mine. I want to make sure I sold them before. I was like, hey guys, we're gonna go out here and start to do big content production on it, especially with how the market was. And then a lot of people started to talk about it with us. I went to England now twice to watch the matches. Went to a show once. I'm going back in January now, actually in like 3 weeks. And I just fell in love with the game, especially once I went over there. Like once I went over there, it was totally different. Like, I watched Chelsea win a Champions League before I went to London. But then once I went to London, it's like, oh my gosh, these people are amazing. Like they just are so psyched about this. Like you can tell that there's just like so much history with these people and their fandom and everything like that. And, I went to Liverpool, I went to Manchester, I toured different stadiums. I tried to do as much as I could in the time I had. And it's just awesome. I literally watch matches every single day. Like I'm addicted to it. I think a lot of people, especially in the past, they'll look at me and say, oh, that guy, he just started collecting soccer. He doesn't really like soccer. He can't even say some of their names. First of all, I can say a lot more names now than I did 3 years ago. But in reality, I mean, it's taken hundreds of hours of researching, reading, listening, watching games. Like I put in the work, and I really do enjoy it a lot. Built a huge Mason Mount collection. He's my favorite player. Really why I'm a Chelsea fan in the first place is because I started collecting Mason Mount because one of my good friends, Oren, who I met through soccer cards, he was like, hey, you should start watching Mason Mount if you want to watch a new player. And Pulisic's on Chelsea, so I started watching them. And I just started collecting, and ever since I just love the team. My favorite color is blue too, so it just was easy.
Yeah.
As for the market in 2023, we saw quite a lot of drops in 2022 for all markets. Soccer specifically struggled too. Just the major points. One, the World Cup was played in November. I think it hurt a lot. If it's played in June, before the economy turns down even more, and also when there's not NFL, NBA, NHL, all these different things going on, there's a lot more attention on it. That hurts. And then also the fact that the matches are at 4 a.m., 7 a.m., 10 a.m., 1 p.m. Like a lot of people working full-time jobs, kids in school, like can't watch the matches. They don't see everything I was seeing when I was watching and stuff like that. So that hurt the attention too, I think. And then the fact that the cars just got so hot because during the hottest time in the hobby, some people are like, oh, World Cup in 2022. So many people rush to buy them. When that happens, supply gets taken off the table, prices go up. Then everyone's trying to sell it at one time too, because that's when they pegged. They pegged that time, 2022 World Cup, as when they wanted to sell. In all honesty, I don't want to say I didn't like take advantage of it. I just like there's an opportunity there. I bought a ton of cool rare soccer cards in the last 2 months because I do watch the Premier League. I do watch Champions League, Europa League, La Liga, all these different matches because I enjoy it. And I'll buy the cards if they're cheaper now because more people are trying to sell them. So that was pretty fun, over the last 2 months, just trying to find different rare soccer cards. For people like us talking about our Slabstox Sundays episodes, we bought 2 Messi autos in the last 2 months. A couple different, Rashford autos and De Bruyne autos. His cards went down a lot because of his terrible World Cup. And now he's playing great with City again, so that's good to see. But yeah, I mean, I think 2023 will be. I think it's going to really bring out a lot of true collectors in the soccer card market because there, not many people are probably going to be buying 2023 to hold for like 3 years until the 2026 World Cup. There'll probably be a lot of true soccer collectors in 2023. I'm sure that'll spin up again come like halfway through 2024 into 2025 for 2026. But
Nice.
we'll just have to see.
Yeah,
Well, I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out real quick to my boy Craig from New York City Sports Cars. He's a true soccer fan. He's a coach. He loves soccer, and I know he's going to be representing in 2023. And real quick, you did that stadium tour, and you've seen like the craziness over there. What's the craziest thing you saw at one of these soccer matches, man?
Oh, well, let me describe this, I guess. This wasn't like well, first of all, these fans just yell at each other all the time. Like it's like nonstop. But second, like when I was at the FA Cup final, it was Liverpool versus Chelsea. They actually separated the stadium. I'm talking one half all blue, other half all red. I've never seen this in my life before. There was a giant black like sheet that ran down from the very top of the stadium down to the pitch that separated the sections. There's probably like 10 seats that separated where the closest Liverpool fan was and the closest Chelsea fan. And everyone was separated. I never seen anything like that. I go to Vikings games when I would live in Minnesota as a Packers fan. I'm just like sitting in the middle of these Vikings fans. Like, no, it was legit separated. And then also in the concourse, they actually have like a massive partition basically pulled between the stadium. You could not walk to the other side of the stadium. It was actually cut off. You could not go to the Liverpool side. Like they physically separate all the fans.
So for good reason. For good reason.
Yeah. For good reason.
That is crazy. That before you go, I just want to say I know Manny from the Too Thick podcast. He also said that he was buying soccer cards now because usually like you said, everybody's you don't buy football cards during the Super Bowl if you want a break. Most people just let it play out, and then I should say that guys who are playing, like say if Aaron Rodgers is in the Super Bowl, that's probably not the right time to buy.
Yeah.
So,
no.
but Manny's like, dude. Right. Yeah. It's because Manny's like, dude, there's tons of bargains now because everybody's selling. And now it's way, there's tons of stock and products. So now there's deals to be had. So that definitely kind of backfired on a lot of people.
I'm not going to say like guaranteed that like these cards that, especially ones I bought, I'm not going to like guarantee they're going to make money, but just like I'm happy with the level I bought them at, right? Yeah. Like I'm happy with adding those cards to the collection. Rashford auto, I have 25 for $200. Like that card I could not have gone for $200 a year prior to that type of stuff. Just because I don't want people like hear that and get like, false ideas that they can go buy something because it's a good deal compared to a year ago, but maybe it's a good deal a year from now too. Who knows? I mean, and like, even if I will say like we too were selling soccer cards like right up to the World Cup just to see how it went. And then use some of that money, like selling Weston McKennie auto, selling Pulisic card to then buy Rashford auto. So we were kind of like, I'm very engaged in the market both ways. Like, I'm not like saying like, oh, people should be selling a 2022 World Cup. But I wasn't selling. I was doing both at the same time. Is the type of thing I'm trying to say. Yeah,
I got you. It probably just depends which were the players, but
that's the other thing too. Everything's player dependent. You can't you can't take anything with like a whole market anymore. It's not like that. It's all dependent, player dependent, everything.
Yeah, like the notion that you were just gonna buy Joe Schmo and just sell him at the same height that you're selling Messi, or that's not gonna happen. So it's definitely player dependent. Yeah.
Right.
Nice. Now I love having these interviews, bro, for real, because I always want to know people's strategies when it comes to collecting. How has your collecting evolved over the years, and what are some of the goals that you have come? Now you spoke about a little bit, but like for 2023, what is Aaron looking to do?
Good question. All right, I'll go 2022 first because I'm going to speak to like what I did, not maybe what I want to do. So I was addicted. I'm telling you, addicted to like building rainbows. Like I'm not talking about like any rainbow. I'm trying to do like the best rainbow, which is like very expensive. But I was fortunate enough. I don't have all of them sitting out here, but I got the full Pierre Gasly not super fractured, F1 Sapphire Rainbow. This is the Papradasha. I put that together and literally it was the luckiest thing ever. Like less than 2 months, I think. Like I bought one card, the next card popped up. I messaged a guy about a box for different dynasty, and then he told me, or I saw on his page he had like 3 of them. I don't know, it's just super lucky. whatever. But I was very addicted to doing the rainbows. I did the Dynasty rainbow. I just got the last piece. It's like the one with the world
Oh,
patch.
wow.
That was the last piece. I just got that in like a month ago. So that one just finished. I've got the 10 in the PWCC vault. I tried to do the rainbow for the hopper. I'm still missing the blue. But like that type of stuff, I love not building a complete set of things, but like focusing on like something I really like and then just trying to find them all.
Mhm.
It just gets super expensive when you're
Yeah.
trying to do the best one. So like, probably won't be doing that again in 2023 anytime soon with like a lot of cards. But I started already doing this in 2022. I started to just like literally look at cards between like $20 and $75 of like, Reese James and Mason Mount and players from my favorite teams and just scoop them up as they come up. It's like trying to find ways to like enjoy collecting without breaking the bank. Like I tell you what, like I did spend a lot of money on the rainbows between. I'm one card away from the Mount Sapphire rainbow too. But like I spent a lot of money between those things. And then I started to like, I don't want to say like, oh, I'm like sad. I was happy. I was like, I guess I was satisfied with what I was able to do. I'm like, this is great. Like, I'm very happy. But I was like, now I just want to get back to buying the smaller cards. And I bought probably like 10 different Reese James autos that were all between like $20 and $60 in the last like couple months and things like that. So I think it's just like finding more ways to interact with smaller dollar cards, not having to go and get the best of the best to be happy. Because I don't think people need that. For me, it was just super fun. Like that was awesome. Like to be able to
Mhm.
do that,
Mhm.
especially the Gasly Sapphire one, because I finished it by flying down to Texas to meet a guy, pick up some cards. I've never done that before. Did like a 1-day fly in, fly out, picked up some cards. But definitely like finding the cheaper cards that like make me happy, and I put in my PC shelf in my house. Like I've got 3 shelves behind a glass door, and it's got stuff from the Bucks. I've got an auto of all the different Bucks players, all my Chelsea cards and stuff like that. So like just doing more stuff like that, because I mean I love just collecting and walking past and looking
Yeah.
and be like, wow, that looks sweet,
You know what? Me and cousin Tony, I think we coined the phrase "balling on a budget." So that's kind of like what you're talking about. You don't have to go crazy. You got a nice little budget, and you're just collecting the cards that you love. And like you said, you don't have to break the bank.
Yeah, exactly. That to me is like, how I got into cards too, was buying the small cards. It definitely wasn't dropping a ton of money early on. It took a long time to build up the collection. Took a long time, but that's definitely what I want to focus on. In 2023 is finding more things like that. This Gasly was probably the first big card I bought for my own personal collection in quite some time. We were buying some bigger cards on the weekly auction with PWCC, some of the bigger messy autos, but like
Mhm.
it's a little bit different. We're buying those things. We're selling some, buying here and there. This is like truly stuff I'm just like, bringing into my house, putting it in the shelves. That's the stuff that like really makes me happy and gets me going with the collecting.
Nice.
Yeah, I think the hobby's getting back to its roots a little bit. Just everybody's a little smarter, but it's getting back to that buying what you like without having to break the bank. As long as I got cards right behind me. Those cards are like $5, but they're great. I love them. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely. I think it's getting back to that. I want to ask you though. Let's get back to the card indexes real quick, because basically the crux of our show for the most part was always geared towards a newer collector. So with so many different indexes out there, there's tons. How's the average collector supposed to keep up? And then I'll ask you the second part, but just let's start with that, because there's a lot of information out there. Where somebody that has no idea or just coming in and seeing all this stuff, where are they supposed to start?
Yeah, good idea. It's difficult because I think when anyone gets into the hobby, it's always like, bro, what do I do? What do I search? Like, what do I even look up on eBay or PWCC, wherever? And for me, I try to put myself in those shoes as much as possible, especially being, trying to be an educator, trying to be a content creator, because I know people need to think like that. So I appreciate and like the question. I know not everyone wants to necessarily pay for a platform right away when you're just getting cards, which makes it difficult because like there are, most of the data platforms out there are paid for, which is why we at first wanted to do one that wasn't paid for, but there's a million challenges with that. But I will say, Card Ladder Pro, they are our data partner, but they do have a free trial in case anyone want to jump on and start to learn stuff that at least you can get it for free for a week. They built indexes for all the different sports, for the different budget levels, for the different eras, for the even different populations. I think now they got indexes for like a million things. Those for us have been extremely helpful with the market reports we're creating, like I mentioned earlier. Like we're kind of referring to these different indexes, the categories, Some of them have sample sizes as big as 15,000 cards, as small as 1,000 cards if it's like F1 or soccer. But you can click into those and see the list of cards. And the nice thing there is one, like, Carlisle, those people are extremely smart. Josh, Chris, Christine are all super smart. And they, help build those things and build the platform. So you kind of know you're going to a place where there's education behind these, there's thought behind these, there's more than just let's slap it together and throw it out there. Now, with that being said, too, currently, we kind of wrote about this in our last two market reports. I haven't like put anything out there via newsletter or Instagram yet, so like not that many people know. It's. I'm not saying this to be like, oh my gosh, this is groundbreaking, but we are right now, like, we have been working now for like 3 months on it, which is what I want, trying to put a lot of thought into it, building a Slabstox 100 index that people can come to who, like you said, maybe they don't know a whole lot at the moment, and look at and like kind of try to get a read on the market, on some different categories, the different cards included, and get a taste for a lot at one time. We know it's not going to be perfect. We know it's not. We're trying to do as best we can. We know people are probably going to have problems with it. But the other thing too is we want to give the community a way to kind of add into it. I think right now a lot of indexes are created by a person, or like I said, people, like with Carlisle, which I love the Carlisle people. They create great work. They're super smart. But we always try to just do stuff a little bit differently, meaning like having the community have a say in it. And we're going to try to give the community a say in voting cards in and out of the index, which I think will be interesting. I don't know how it's going to work to start, but we'll look at a certain amount of chunk of cards. Maybe it's 10, and maybe every 3 months we're going to give the industry a way to vote on them, to vote cards out that don't matter or cards that they don't care about. Because I think that's cool to get people, interacting more and having a voice in maybe the bigger aspects of the hobby. I think what we try to do, which has worked so well, and just because it's true and genuine, we're like everyone else. Like, I'm just like you guys. I'm just like the kid I meet at the show. I started collecting when I was young, just been buying and selling cards and loving cards and watching sports. Like, I'm no different. I just started to post every day on stuff, and it worked out. And we want to, keep as relatable as possible, and not be like, oh, those guys are, they think they're better than me, or they think that they can do things differently than me. Like, we want people to feel like they can do things just like us. I think by giving those people a voice like that, we really want to give that a shot, because I think it's a lot different. I think it will be good for the industry and hobby.
Gotcha. Sounds good. The second part is sometimes some of these indexes, their integrity, they've been called into question. Whether it be the data that they put about certain cards, or all kinds of things. So what are some of the things to look out for when you're looking at these charts? Because they can be, let's be honest, they can be manipulated.
Yeah. So first of all, I like kind of have heard maybe what you're talking about, but I'm not that into like reading a lot of that stuff. Obviously, I'm so busy with creating stuff that we're doing. To me, this is what I have to say. I'll say what we do and how we go about this. So when we release our market reports every single month, which people could kind of see as an index without it just being an index, right? It's a full report. It reports on what's going on. It points at different cards. It talks about why they went up, why they went down. At the very top, there's a disclosure, and literally write about the players that we own cards of. All right, so like in the year-end report, we own Erling Haaland, Messi, Mbappe, Giannis. Like, it just says it right there, right? So immediately, if I write, oh my gosh, Giannis is the best player ever, yeah, I'm a Bucks fan, like, right? Like, I'm not trying to get one over on anyone. It's just I love Giannis, and I love talking about him. But for us, it's like when we do create this index, it's going to be a similar thing. Like, we're going to make very clear how we pick the cards, why we pick the cards, what the criteria is, what the qualifications are, and from our angle, it's like, do we own a card in this index? Like, most of the time, it's actually no. Like, I collect weird stuff. Like, how many people want to know about what a Mason Mount Papadasha value is? Like, I'm not going to sell this card anytime soon, most likely, unless someone walks up with like $1 million. Feel free, anyone who's out there. But like, it's not what it's about for me. So it is about making clear why it's made, the intentions of why it's made. That's the most important part, right? Like, for us, like, we want to give a way to drive more hobby discussion. We want to give a way for people to think about the hobby in a different way. I could care less if I own a Jason Tatum card, which I don't. And Jason Tatum will be in the index, obviously one of the best players in the NBA. And that's what it's about for us, So like, I guess the best thing I can say is, if you are reading stuff from other people, if you are listening to other people speak on things, if it's indexes, if it's podcasts, if it's YouTube videos, always kind of like listen out for those clues of if they are talking about things like me talking about Giannis. I'll always say, yo, guys, I got extreme Bucks bias, guys. Like, I own one Giannis card. I literally own a Contenders Auto historic ticket. cracked ice. Like I don't have like $1 million of Giannis in the other room. Like I just love the guy, right? Like you got to listen for those clues and get to know the people too before you really start to buy into the community. And like I even say for people who come to our shows, like heck, like I know we have a lot of people that follow us on Instagram, especially. It's like, hey, get to know what we're doing, right? Before you like completely like I'm not even saying buy in dollars wise because we don't charge people for stuff. I'm saying buy in like emotionally, buy in, mentally. That's the best thing I can say.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Like I said, yeah, it's I think if you put it out there and you're as transparent as you can be, and you say, hey, look, this is what we're putting out here. It's up to the person where they want to buy in or not. So yeah, that's like I said, that's fair. And we pump Allen Iverson here. Unfortunately, we don't have an index to reflect that, but we're gonna work on that, right, Asa?
I'm working on that. Me and Aaron are coming up with nice little index. So.
It's Allen Iverson and what's the head jock in Stranger Things, and one that was like a bully. I don't know his name. You guys know?
Is it Jason?
I don't know. Whatever
Well,
his
he
name.
might have been talking about Steve. I don't know, back from
The
season
kid
one.
from the basketball team.
No, I think it's Jason.
Okay, well, him.
Yeah. Oh, in season 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but I can't spoil it. I was about to say something about Jason, but I'm not going to spoil it.
Oh yeah, no spoilers, no spoilers.
No spoilers.
Let's talk some NFL.
Okay.
So you're a big Green Bay Packers fan, and
Yes.
obviously we're huge Philadelphia Eagles fans.
Yep.
And as we're gearing up for the playoffs, the Eagles are kind of cooling off. Jalen Hurts got hurt, and Hurts got hurt, and Minshew came in. Minshew mania kind of went down the drain. We've lost the last 2 games, and here comes the Packers. Here comes Green Bay out of nowhere. We got Mr. Aaron Rodgers got his mojo back. He got his swag back. He's walking around with his little RELAX, like chill. I got this, yo. So, I wanted to talk about that, but now it's kind of like we got to put everything on hold. Let's talk about what's on everyone's mind real quick, and that, of course, is the Bills' safety, Damar Hamlin, and his well-being. I'm pretty sure you've seen and you've heard. Were you watching the game when it happened?
Yes, I was watching the game. I was on my computer getting some work done, so I did not see it happen live. Like I did not see him get hit and I did not see him fall over. I was working on my computer and then I kind of looked up and I'm like, a lot of people were on the field because obviously they attended it really fast. And then it's like, oh, and it head injury, whatever. And then they replayed it and probably within 10 seconds they replayed it. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's way different, than someone kind of having a head injury and starting to stumble over and then laying there, literally just drop to the ground. And obviously watching the teammates was extremely difficult. That was one of those nights where you kind of say to yourself, man, I'm going to remember that night. That was something different I've ever seen on national TV, that you could tell that the commentators and the studio people were just thrown for a loop. And I don't blame them. I mean, all those people should get raises, especially Ryan Clark. That guy's amazing for what he had to do. I love Ryan Clark. But it just reminded me so much. I don't know if you all were watching the Euro 2020 or it's happened in 2021 or anyone else, but when Christian Eriksen, and I don't know how many non-soccer fans heard about this, he literally, same exact thing happened on the pitch, except he didn't get hit. He just fell over. He was running on the sides, looked super woozy and literally fell over. But the difference between that was immediately they literally put the camera on his face. Dude, I've never seen someone look dead. I've never it's things you see in a movie where blank stare, right? Yeah. This guy just laying there. It's just the most bone chilling thing. His wife literally hopped over the fence or the stadium to run on the. Oh my gosh. It's very similar to that, both extremely scary. They actually restarted that game 2 hours later because they heard that he was okay. They revived him. They got him to the hospital. And then he got kind of awake quicker, obviously, than Hamlin has now. But it sounds like progress is being made with Hamlin's health. It sounds like that they're trying to get him to start to breathe on his own. Extremely scary. I feel awful for his mom. I feel awful for all the players involved. I still don't know how, even if that Bills and Bengals game is going to resume, I do not know how his players are going to be able to play the game. I know that the NFL has to go on. I know life has to move on. And let's hope it's moving on with Hamlin healthy at some point. Because I also think that this kid's amazing. I did not know a single thing about him. I tell you what, that night, I barely got anything done. I just started looking at Twitter, started to read things about the kid. It makes me sad that happened to someone like that because I want to hear about Damar Hamlin before he almost dies. I want to hear about what he's doing with these kids before he almost dies. I don't want to hear about Antonio Brown for the 10th time doing something dumb. Which is, I think it just kind of shows the problem, if places reported on him and his charity earlier, like how much of a different impact could that make versus focusing on Antonio Brown doing something stupid for the 10th time.
Yeah. Agreed.
But man, I hope he pulls through. I know everyone does. We're praying for it over here. Everyone is. And yeah, I don't want to see anyone obviously die doing something they love. That's just awful,
No,
especially
man.
24. I mean, he's the
You
same
just,
age as me.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
imagine if I was landed in London and like didn't return. Like that'd be like
it's
similar
crazy.
thing. Like doing something I love, it's like him. Like it'd be
Yeah.
ridiculous.
He's a baby. He's a baby. And dude, you just knew, like, just the reaction from everybody, Stephon Diggs just crying, and the looks that everybody had, it just wasn't normal. It just wasn't the same. You've seen people get concussions, even, Tua from the Dolphins. He had a couple.
That was scary as heck.
That was scary. But even then,
yeah.
we're getting texts like, yo, we think he's dead. I'm like, wow, what? So we're looking, and I did sports medicine in the past. So when I first seen it, I was like, it kind of looked like he caught him under the chin. So I thought it was like he got up too quick. Maybe the blood rushed to his head, and it was kind of like a concussion type thing. And he just, fell back and lost consciousness. But literally, he went into cardiac arrest, which is,
once they use the word CPR on live TV, that's where it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, right? Not once but twice. Like,
yeah.
And I was just thinking, because they were in let me see, they were in Cincinnati, right?
Yeah.
So they just happened, his parents just happened to be there.
Yeah, I know. That's the other thing too. It's like you think you're gonna watch your son play in a game, and oh my god, it's a nightmare, right?
Yeah, man. That man. Prayers go up to DeMar, and just hopefully as the week goes on, because like you said, how can any of those guys that were there to witness that just get their focus and everything back to play a game, and when all you're cared about is your teammate, your brother, is he okay? I'm not going to do anything till I know he's okay. And then I think once they say, okay, he's recovering, and just not those guys, I mean the entire NFL, like even the world is kind of like, the people that have witnessed it, we're all on edge, just hoping and praying that everything just is fine for this kid, and that he can recover, not even to get back to playing football, just to being able to live, because you don't know if oxygen was getting to his brain, and that could cause brain damage,
Right.
So you want to make sure everything, he's young, hopefully resilient, and he can come back and do it. But once these guys figure out hopefully that he's fine, then we can get back to the playing the game. It's a game.
Yeah,
sometimes we as fans, we take it too serious, man.
I agree. Really quick, I don't know how much you guys watch F1 or no, but back in I think it was 2018, Antoine Hubert, he's a French driver, he died in an F2 race the day before the F1 race. And I'm pretty sure they still race the F1 race the next day. Like, imagine F1 where you're driving 200 miles per hour, especially for Pierre Gasly. That was his roommate growing up in high school. Knowing you're like one of your best friends just died the day before, like doing the exact same thing you're doing, driving a car 200 miles per hour. I don't understand that. That is another situation where I know I didn't witness it live. I wasn't watching F1 back then. I know a lot of people were. Very similar situation, except worse at the time because he actually died.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine this stuff, man.
That's tough, man. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
So we got to bring it up a little bit. Let's just talk real quick. So with Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay Packers, what are the chances they make the playoffs, and are they going to make some noise if they do?
Well, first of all, I'll tell you what, man, I was so down on our season 4-8. Okay. Like, I know a lot, there's some Packer fans who's like, I always believed we were going to win them all. Dude, I was furthest from that. I'm like, bench Rodgers, we're basically eliminated. Play Jordan Love, figure out if he's the guy, because you got to figure out if he's the guy. You can't waste the next, 9 or 5 games not figuring it out. And then offseason, what do you do? So I was like, take the time to figure it out. But then you win that next game. We won that next game. We weren't mathematically eliminated. If we went 4-9, it was done. We won the next game. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, here we go. Now we got to keep on watching Rodgers stink. He came off a broken thumb. Okay, got to cut the guy some slack. He did broken thumb. And then we just keep winning. And I'm like, okay, defense seemed like it was terrible. Now it's a lot better. Some guys got healthy. We destroy the Vikings, and to give some context,
shut down Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I went to high school.
My man's doing the gritty on a defensive play. I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
that was kind of dope.
And it was early in the game, and he's doing. I'm like, man,
the second play of the game. I think.
Second play. Yeah.
So I went to high school in Minnesota, so I have a ton of friends that are from Minnesota, right? And like they've been razzing me all season. So I was like, guys, just wait. You guys kind of stink. I always thought the Vikings were frauds, and they definitely are
Fugazi,
frauds.
Fugazi, like all day, like they're
They're
winning
still
games, but
frauds.
it's like the most Fugazi type.
No, bro, they're like the same point differential as like 6 and 9 teams or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think that we will win this Sunday. If we don't win this Sunday, we don't deserve to be in the playoffs or even close to. If you don't win at home against the Lions in a do or die game, Aaron Rodgers has to win that game. Our defense has to play better. And I'm worried about playing at San Fran. It's just complete kryptonite. Like I was at the game when we blew the block punt. Okay, that was ridiculous. It's like I've been to a lot of playoff games in the last few years, some really bad ones. And I really want the Vikings on the road. I really want to play the Vikings again because I just think that'd be like peak season. Like honestly, we might not make the Super Bowl. We might not win it. If we beat the Vikings in a playoff matchup after they have that amazing season in their mind, I would just love it. Okay, so yeah, I think we can win a playoff game. I mean, we're hot. Like, I mean, 4 straight wins, fifth if we beat the Lions.
Okay.
And like, I know we'll be on the road the entire time, but guess what? Rodgers did it in 2010.
Yep.
No saying he can't do it again. He won every game on the road. We won the Super Bowl. I'm just here for the ride, man. I'm not going to say we're going to win the Super Bowl.
I always tell Tony and everybody, I never count Aaron Rodgers out of anything, man. Not to win it all, but just when he's playing, especially when he plays the Eagles. I'm surprised we won when we did, but like he just always pulls a rabbit out of his hat.
We couldn't stop the run to save our lives, and now we finally can again.
Yeah, we'll see.
But
I'm just hoping we can get a little bit of our swag, our mojo back. Hopefully, Jalen Hurts is his shoulders good to go, and I don't know, man. We're gonna see. We're gonna see on Sunday. Now we are 13-point favorite.
Are you more nervous than you were 3 weeks ago?
I'm not, you know what? I'm not really nervous because I believe in Jalen Hurts and I believe in the team when we're all healthy. Now, Lane Johnson going down is a big blow, but apparently he should be back for the playoffs. But the Eagles' record with Lane Johnson, we're talking about Jalen Hurts being the MVP, but honestly, Lane Johnson is like that dude. Whenever he's in the lineup, like the Eagles are pretty much unstoppable. It's crazy the record with and without him. So we need to get Lane back. Obviously, Jalen back, and we got some defensive players that are coming back. I think we're going to be fine. We just got to end the season on a good note with the Giants. Get the number 1 seed. That's the key. Get the number 1 seed. That way we can have the bye, get some more health, and then the NFC would have to go through Philadelphia, which nobody wants to do.
You think that's the key until your special teams lets you down. So.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's crazy. Don't remind me. So, hey, Aaron, last question. Just we always, like I said, we tend to gear our show towards newer collectors. So just what pieces of advice would you tell a newer collector or investor that's looking to get into the hobby and just either have fun time, be successful, things like that?
Good question. I always try to ask this question too for other people because I think it's everyone has either a different answer, similar answer, but they all give their own flavor to it. When I was growing up and collecting, there was barely any place you could learn about it. It took me years of making mistakes and learning on my own to learn a lot of stuff. Reading a lot of like secondhand resources where it's not just like, firsthand resources where it's not like just all compiled stuff together. It's you literally got to go to like do all these different things, go to shows. It's a lot easier to learn now. I'll say that from experience, but make sure that you're still taking the time to like understand what you're doing before blowing a bunch of money. I've lost money more times than I can say in sports cards. I've also made money more times than I can say in sports cards. Like you kind of got to go through the process. I'm sure people hate to hear it. I'm sure people don't want to do it. I'm sure people don't want to take a year, 2 years to really like kind of understand what they're doing. But I'll tell you what, we have an excellent intern. He's a junior at Madison now, and he started with us when he's a freshman. He's extremely mature. Like I would not have thought he's a freshman when I first talked to him. When he contacted me, he might have bought like 1 pack of sports cards before, but he's like, yeah, I've been reading and learning about it for 8 months. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like I could never sit there for 8 months and not buy anything and just read and learn about it. Like that's insane, right? So like he literally took it to heart and he did it. And he is super smart now.
Wow.
In 2.5 years, like he's very seasoned. Obviously doesn't know everything. He doesn't know as much as I know. You gotta say that and take that, Julian. But no, he is very smart. He has a great job and he asks questions. And that's the other thing too. Ask questions. I mean, there's a community everywhere for everyone. Like you're here with you guys on the Cousins Collectibles podcast, with us at Slabstox, wherever it might be. Find a community you enjoy and learn. I'd say without the community, you'll probably get either like antsy, quit if you make a mistake. you need a community. You gotta find something aligned with people you're passionate about. Otherwise, honestly, it's just you sitting there with some cardboard, and that's fun, but it's not as fun as sitting there with other people with cardboard too.
Yeah. You know, it with the indexes too, like, so you got to do the work, and doing the work isn't really sexy. So sometimes if they see an index and they see Luca and it's all the way up there, like, oh, I'm just gonna go and guy try to get to the top of the chart real quick. So,
Yeah.
and that that tends to not work out more often than not. So just got to do the work, man. Aaron, before we get out of here, let everybody know where they can find you, man. Plug away. Where you
For
at?
sure, for sure. At Slabstox on Instagram. Myself is at Slabstox. Aaron is on Instagram, as you can see. Let's keep it so messing me up too, right there. YouTube, search Slabstox. But also, I would say the single best thing that we do from a learning perspective, education perspective, is going to slabstox.com, putting in your email just right there on the homepage. You get the daily slab every single day. There's thousands of collectors that read that thing every single day. Done for 4 straight years. There's a lot of info that comes out there every single morning. Unique pieces of content. I'd say you'll learn a lot really fast, and feel free to ask me any questions if you want to.
Perfect. Like I said in the beginning, I gotta tip my hat. You guys do it a little different. You were able to hold my attention. I don't pay attention to a lot of things, right, Oz? But I
That's
got
not easy.
no, it's not
Well, I
easy. So I
take
was
that
like,
as a
okay,
compliment. Thank you.
Yeah,
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 no, for
definitely.
sure, yeah, yeah. Trust me. And I'm
That's
like,
the
man,
highest
I hate
compliment
that.
you can get. If you can keep Tony's attention, you're good to go. You know
Yes.
you won.
Yeah,
Good deal.
But Aaron,
yeah,
man, thank you so much for coming on board. Like I said, we know you're busy, and for you to do this, it means a lot. And I wasn't lying when I say you do hold a special place in my hobby heart for helping me complete my set, and that I got that set for my daughter. And we're actually waiting right now. We sent it out to PSA to get it graded. So we're basically should be arriving any week now, and I can't wait to get it back. And I'm probably going to do the same thing you said, putting in a case. Don't really
Yeah,
care about the grade. It is what it is. It was just the hunt, getting those cards, and what Stranger Things means to us. But so thank you so much for helping me do that. Thank you for coming on board. And man, thank you for what you do for the hobby. We appreciate you, bro.
of course. You're
Honestly.
welcome. You're welcome.
And we're just gonna end this like we always do, Tony. And that's keep focused, keep positive, and keep collecting. Hey, yo, Tone, bring the beat back.